My people, it's about that time.
Like a boss.
Live from the USA, helping you get paid every day. This is the boss of Bitcoin, the Cristo of crypto. It's your boy BK. And if you don't like me, you must not like money. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Today we are talking about Uncle Sam's Bitcoin. How BTC has almost aligned with the political authorities behind the petrodollar system. And, what does that mean for the future of cryptocurrency? What does that mean for our society today? And most importantly, how can you profit as a result? So if this is your first time tuning in, congratulations, baby. You are now rocking with the best. My name is BK, also known as the Crypto Trader, and I'm the boss of these charts, as you will soon find out. Every day I grace this microphone with my voice is another day you get to profit as a result. So if you haven't done it, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on. I make a video 7 days a week because the markets don't sleep. And I'm just here to help you get a piece of the pie to eat. This is how we do it. Free Bitcoin every Friday. All you need to do, if you want to win some free BTC compliments of the boy BK, shout out your city in the comments. We have a global community. I feel like DJ Khaled went and be like, we global. You know what I'm saying? We got people all over the world. And this was our winner a few days ago, Mr. Francisco. I see this man almost in every single video, so I'm glad you were able to get some free BTC. Shoot me a wallet in the comments, and let's go ahead and get paid. Now let's go ahead and make this money. So here we are. This is kind of the motivation for posting this video. We have a presidential candidate, JFK Jr., and he says he's fully committed to Bitcoin. This is an article from today. He said most of his wealth, and this is what made it interesting and intriguing to me, most of his wealth is in the digital asset. So essentially, you have a presidential candidate that wants to back the dollar with Bitcoin and also make BTC exempt from taxes. I agree. It should definitely be exempt from taxes. Like, it was already paid for once. You shouldn't have to pay for it again. But back the dollar with Bitcoin. But then you almost have this caveat. Well, wait a minute. He has bias in the outcome because, he's already got his money tied up in it. So if when the government starts buying Bitcoin, all that's going to do is make his earned, equity in the asset much more valuable. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. The individual is always self-interested. I just think it's kind of a cop-out when you leverage your political authority to profit. But, we do live in a kakistocracy, and that is common in today's society. Actually, they have Instagram accounts that follow Nancy Pelosi. This is literally entire trading strategies. Just, follow whatever she does. You know what I'm saying? Because, rich people don't go to jail, especially when they rich and they in political office. Like, it never, ever happens. So Nancy Pelosi has made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I've seen Instagram accounts that literally will announce her trades, like whatever she's buying, whatever she's selling. And if you follow it, you're like 30, 40% above the market, right? So I think this could just kind of be like the latest rendition of, something like this, to where a political figure, like she's raised 441 million. No, she's worth 115 million. And her salary is like $200,000, which is crazy. Like, how do you get that money? Well, when you know what's going to happen, and you just bet on the winning horse, apparently it's not illegal when you're in politics, right? Well, this is the horse in the race right now that's dead set to win. Its name is Bitcoin. It has this big orange circle and a B in the middle of it. And every government knows about it. Why do they know about it? Because it is a paradigm shift. It takes the equation and skews it in favor of the many instead of the few. Right now, we essentially live on a corporatized oligarchy, hierarchy system to where you have a very, very, very few amount of people, i.e. political figures that have been there longer than I've been alive, that confiscate essentially hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars from society, and everybody else just fight over the crumbs, like literally, right? Bitcoin turns that system upside down and allows everybody who's willing to transfer any fiat currency to obtain it, because Bitcoin is transferable for any fiat currency in the world, to give them a better chance at achieving financial liberation. The only thing the dollar is designed to do is keep you in debt. It's a vehicle of debt. It has an interest rate tied to it, and it's got somebody else's signature on it, which means you don't even own the rights to that interest. Did you know that anytime you come across a piece of paper with somebody else's name written on it, it's a contract? Well, that note you have in your pocket is a private-owned contract, which you don't own the rights to benefit, right? But Bitcoin operates the other way. And people don't realize, but the government actually has a lot of Bitcoin, right? Washington, D.C. owns more than $5 billion worth of seized Bitcoin. And it's been holding it for quite some time. Now, it did get rid of a little bit. It says the Treasury is currently sitting on a stash of 207,000 Bitcoin. And this was in January of 2024. I believe Germany made national news just a few weeks ago when they sold all of their Bitcoin. And then the price jumped up literally the next day. They lost $500 million in 1 or 2 days from selling it too cheap. So that was funny. But, there's still, Uncle Sam still has about $5 billion worth of BTC. And these are all of the incidents that, kind of contributed to the Bitcoin bank, if you will, that's currently in the custody of Uncle Sam, right? Total Bitcoin seized, 195,000. Total USD gained, about 360 million. Current value of also Bitcoin, 13 billion. Potential gains missed, 12 billion. But they still got a lot, right? So essentially they're one of the first banks of Bitcoin. They just haven't incorporated it and created a lending entity off of it. That's essentially how governments work. They basically confiscate resources, i.e. land, i.e. Bitcoin, i.e. oil, and they hoard it together, put a bunch of tanks around it so nobody could get close to it without being blown to bits. And then they lend it back to the rest of the world that no longer has these resources available to them. This has been going on for tens of thousands of years. That's why I'm not necessarily sold on, a guy that bought Bitcoin and now all of a sudden wants to tie the dollar to it. I'm more sold on somebody that has their own mind, speaks freely, and isn't necessarily a puppet getting pulled by somebody else's strings. If anybody pulling the strings, they pulling it for themselves. But, I think it's good to note in the air of the moment that it doesn't matter if it's a blue wing or a left wing, if it's a progressive wing or a traditional wing. It's all the same bird. 2 wings, 1 bird. And the more friction you have between each of any given wings, the better the bird's gonna fly, right? Friction creates fire, and you need to ignite the energy to get the sheeple activated and interested and bought into it. Make them sing the Pledge of Allegiance before every sporting event. Have flags across the whole field. You know what I'm saying? Who does that sound like? Right? Who does that sound like? Like, this is literally the same symbol that has been used throughout the duration of the last 1,000-year reign. You know what I'm saying? It goes back to Napoleon, right? We had Napoleon killing people all over the world with this eagle emblem. You had Rome. Caesar was doing it better than anybody, right? And then you had this one guy that came around and he did it, and all of a sudden everybody looked at the bird differently. But it's been the same bird the whole time. And that bird just started buying Bitcoin, or actually hoarding it, confiscating it, because they have a plan to use it in the future. And this is the opportunity at hand. We have to observe how the field is playing differently, how it's changing, right? Like I grew up playing football, dedicated first 22 years of my life to that game. And I look at the game now that I see on TV, and that's a completely different game than the game I played. Like, I grew up watching cats like Ronnie Lott. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Raiders were my favorite team, number 42. Come down, laying people out, put them to sleep. Like, take a dirt nap, get the bath salts out, wake them up, you know? Like, you can't do that no more. If somebody trip over their shoes the wrong way, it's a penalty, right? But the game is changing. The assets are changing. No longer do we have, wars over, I mean, we still do, but, the original, when they propagated America with, foreigners, it was to essentially confiscate the land. Why was the land valuable? Well, we got this thing called oil, which was black gold. They built a whole empire on it, right? Before that, they had cotton. You know what I'm saying? You already know how that story went. We don't even talk about that one, right? Same bird the whole time. Right wing, left wing, one bird in flight. And so if they have value for something and they're not giving it away willingly, they're taking it from people, I think maybe then it's time to start reevaluating our priorities and seeing how that sets us up for the future. I think all too often we're trapped in the moment and we get too distracted on micro events. Oh my God, did you know the basketball team almost lost to South Sudan? How does that happen? Oh my God, thank God for LeBron. He saved the USA. Like, this is what people been thinking. This is what they've been saying the past 7 days. I'm from Cleveland. I met LeBron. Actually, LeBron met me. You know what I'm saying? If you know him, make sure you tell him that. LeBron met me, right? But it's like these are distractions, and essentially it's mass spectacles that were advented, in Rome through the Colosseum to get people excited and dispel their energy so that they would just be placated, with the way life was going. Like, as long as they could go out and scream their lungs out at a football game that they don't control one way or the other, they go to work happy on Monday because they're exhausted. And they just go in there mentally exhausted, mentally drained. Oh, did you see the game? Yeah, it was so great, man. I'm so happy we won. Oh, we lost. Oh, I'm from Cleveland. Shit. It's always next year. Come back next year. You'll be okay. And it's just an energy drain, trap. Each one of those football stadiums is literally a plug, like an outlet, and it just drains the energy from the entire city, right? And all the while, Uncle Sam back there stacking sats, and you counting stacks. Like, what game you playing, right? So it's time to change our values so that we can change our worth. We're literally watching a permutation of society. Like, the game is changing within itself. I just watched The Matrix like yesterday, and so this shit is fresh in my mind. It's like the level is changing. It's like Inception. Remember when the world turned sideways and they was able to walk up that wall? That's what blockchain is. That's a whole new wall that's being built as people are walking on it now. But you don't want to be one of the 10 millionth people that come across that blockchain trying to get some equity. Like this is, I told you, this is like early days real estate, New York City. Right? You could buy you an acre of land for like $1,000 or $100 in the early 1900s. Now that same acre, you can't even get it. They done split it up 15 times to where an apartment in one building is selling for $1 million. That's Bitcoin 20 years from now. The entire world will be looking to leverage and utilize this asset. It's the best financial vehicle ever invented, point blank period, and governments are starting to admit to owning it, to hoarding it, to confiscating it, to leveraging it for their future production. And that's why you need to be interested. I think, as I said, this entire landscape is evolving, and I got a voice that will outlast time. And so my message is to get as many people excited, interested, informed, educated, and empowered in this transition. And I know it's a lot of people making a lot more videos with a lot more views than mine, but guess what? They ain't got the gift that I got, right? And they ain't me. Like I said, LeBron met me. A lot of people wish they would have met LeBron, but LeBron met me. You feel me? A lot of these people met me. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because I know my purpose. And my purpose is to help people. I told my daycare teacher, I was like 7, 8 years old, barely even knew what the world was back then. And she said, Brandon, what you want to do when you grow up? And I looked at her and I thought about saying president, but president really didn't seem happy. He was always like stressed out. And I didn't want to be a teacher because I heard teachers ain't make no money. I said, I just want to help people, I just want to help people. And she just looked at me. And I think she was taking him back a little bit. She was like, you going to help people? Like, I ain't say nothing about making money. I ain't say nothing about being rich. I was like, I just want to help people. And that wish came true. And so this is what I do. I sit in this room every night and I observe how the world is changing. And then I try to communicate the best way I know to help whoever is willing to listen. I'm of the same mind to where, my frequency attracts those that are already aligned to it. So I don't have to push this message down nobody's throat. I don't have to fight for no votes. I don't have to go buy no ballots or pay no commercials to air my campaign so people notice me. Guess what? You know what I'm saying? I already know what I'm capable of. I already did it. It's just a matter of doing it again. Like, that's part of the story. It's like the hero's journey. It's like you got to go up the mountain, fall down the mountain, climb back up the mountain. Now you know you could do it twice. You know what I'm saying? Get rich, go broke, and get rich again. That way it ain't no issue, ain't no secret. Debt is the money of slaves, silver is the money of gentlemen, gold is the money of kings, and Bitcoin is the money of the future. Make sure you plan accordingly. With that being said, everybody, it's that time of the day. Shining out, boss. Boy BK, no matter where you stay, Brazil to Bay, California, all the way back out through Germany. Good night, good morning, and good day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. Hit that thumbs up button for a player one time. Do that for me if you appreciate mine. Till we meet again, stay cryptic, y'all. Peace.
Like a boss.
Huh. Like a boss.